Hi, I'm looking for advice, but also to just vent and get some things off of my chest. I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. When I was a teenager, I was very irresponsible. I did drugs, I partied hard, and I ended up getting my then girlfriend at the time pregnant. As soon as my daughter was born, I switched gears and cleaned up every aspect of life. It was like a switch flipped in my head, and I immediately became a dad. I went to school while I worked, got my degree, and now I work as a physical therapist. Things with the mother of my daughter didn't end up working out. She told me that she felt like she had been robbed of her young adult life and didn't want to stay tied down anymore. So just like that, when our daughter was 5 years old, she walked out of both of our lives. I started dating again a bit after that, when I felt like it was in my daughter's best interest to have a mother figure. I met my current wife on a dating app. We had the same interests, and she got along super well with my daughter. I was worried that would become an issue, but things turned out great. I asked her to marry me after 2 years. We got married right after and had a baby boy together. I thought that things were great ever since. Last spring, I got promoted and served as a sort of manager consultant for other physical therapists, as well as helping my own patients. As part of my position, I'm often forced to go on long trips, sometimes to other cities or other states. Well, our company was selected to be an affiliate with an Italian physical therapy company, and I was selected to be on the team that would go over and have a talk with other therapists, show the things that we do and why they work, learn from them, etc. It was a cool opportunity, and though it was only for 2 weeks, I was excited to go overseas for the first time. Couldn't actually bring my family with me, however, since it was a work trip, and the whole thing would be coming out of our company's expenses. Kind of a shame, but that's okay. My wife works as well, so in situations like this, I call my dad, who lives nearby, and ask him to help out until she gets off work. My wife was able to take some time off work, so I figured that wouldn't be needed this time. I got everything in order for me to travel, and I took the long flight over to Italy. I sent pictures to our family's group chat of how beautiful it was while I was there, but I noticed that my wife wasn't responding to my messages, but my daughter was. At the time, I just figured that they were seeing the pictures together and that my daughter was the one texting for everyone at that time. Well, a week into the trip, I get a call from my daughter, who asked me when I'm coming home. I could tell she was upset about something and thought it was something related to school or something like that. I told her that I still had a few more days overseas before I came home, but that she could tell me if anything was wrong. She explained that she didn't have any food in the house for her and her brother. I kind of made a joke about it, but I realized she was very upset, and I asked her to tell her stepmom to take her grocery shopping. My daughter then tells me that my wife hasn't been home since I left for Italy. I ask her what she means. According to my daughter, who by the way loves her stepmom and has no negative feelings for her, to my knowledge, left home the same night I left, and has been telling my daughter that she will be home the next day through text messages before deciding she was staying away from home for another day and promising she will be home soon. She showed me the messages and they were all real. Now I'm freaking out. My kids are at home starving, and now my wife is missing. I called my dad right after and asked him to take care of the kids while I was gone and try to find out what was going on. I called my wife right away and got no answer. I started calling everyone I knew that might have seen her and was legitimately panicking that something happened to her, that she had been kidnapped or something, and got a flight back home the next day. Nobody had heard from her during all of this time, except for my daughter. I got in contact with the police and filed a missing persons report as soon as I could. I explained what happened with our children and how my daughter was receiving messages, but she still had not come home. They were able to find her through cell tower pings, and she was actually staying in one location the whole time. We met up again at the station, and I was so relieved to see her again. I had no idea what I would do if I lost her. The police took her and my daughter into questioning to find out what happened. I was asked to stay with my daughter for her questions because of a law protecting minors, which basically meant I had to consent to her being questioned. After she was done, we waited for a few hours for my wife to be done. I asked if I could be with my wife during her questioning, but was advised not to. Instead, I drove my daughter back to my dad's and came back. By that point, they were done. One of the officers asked to speak with me. The cop that I talked to explained to me that she was in fact not kidnapped, but had been staying with another man the whole time. Apparently, when the cops showed up, my wife panicked and claimed to be kidnapped. The other man showed ample evidence this wasn't true. They didn't want me in the room for that, since they figured that was what happened after all. Obviously, I'm crushed that she was cheating and tried to lie about it, but I'm even more upset she would abandon our children like that. I've said okay to pressing charges for child endangerment. I don't ever want to see her again after this. Update. Shortly after the debacle, I filed for divorce. I have been granted temporary full custody of our 15-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son because what she did classifies as child endangerment. My lawyer says I can likely get full custody once it's finalized, with her only getting supervised visitation. It's been about 3 weeks since she's even set foot near our house. She's called the kids a handful of times about her missing them, but I don't let those calls go longer than 5 minutes. I've tried to keep things as calm as possible for them. They know she's not living here, but I haven't told them all the details about her cheating or the police involvement. Just enough to explain why she's not around. At mediation last week, she got upset when my lawyer brought up her having to pay child support and alimony. She started making comments like, "It's fucking unfair, and I shouldn't have to pay this much when I'm not the one who even filed." Her lawyer actually got fed up with her and told her to keep her mouth shut. It was a circus. My lawyer shut down all her excuses pretty quickly. A lot of people at work, her friends, our families know what's going on. My dad has been watching the kids whenever I need to be at court or at work longer than usual. My co-workers pitched in, taking over some shifts so I can make sure I'm home when the kids get out of school. I still wake up some mornings feeling like I'm in a daze, but it's getting better. She tried to spin a story with her family at first, saying she had a panic attack and got lost, but I sent screenshots of her texts and the police report to her siblings and her parents. Now they've backed me completely. My daughter told me she just wants things to be normal again, and I'm doing my best to give her that stability. I don't know how long the divorce will take, but for now, I'm focused on keeping the kids safe and keeping a roof over our heads. I'm planning a little weekend camping trip in 2 weeks to get all of us out of the house and give them a break. If anyone has advice for co-parenting after something like this, or just ways to keep the kids feeling secure, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for listening.